Well, there are some interesting things that are happening with EA at the moment, specifically with Bioware, and fans are wondering what's going on and what's going to happen with Mass Effect 5. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about all this and what it could mean for Bioware in the next Mass Effect game. So EA is not doing too well right now. Sales are down. Apparently EA shares have dropped by 16%, which is equal to about $6 billion. You know, when I hear that, it puts into perspective just how valuable these gaming companies are. EA is a $37 billion company. That's a lot of moolah. But anyway, the reason for this is that the recent games under the EA banner have underperformed. FIFA, or now EA Sports FC, is one of EA's biggest games, and although it sold well compared to the other games in 2024, it was still in the top 10, it underperformed by EA standards. It undersold by about 50%. That's a pretty big drop off. I've heard that like Madden, FC has its own problems. For anyone who plays that game, what are your opinions of it? Why do you think the game didn't perform as well? But let's switch gears and let's get into the Bioware side of things. As you may know, one of the most awaited games of 2024 was Dragon Age The Veilguard. I mean, it had been 10 years since Inquisition came out. 10 years! 9 since the Trespasser DLC. I still haven't played Vanguard yet because paying $70 for a game puts me off of buying it early. Sometimes being grown sucks. You gotta think about if your money is best used elsewhere. But anyway, the game came out on Halloween last year, and as of this year, it's underperforming as well. Like FC is underperforming by about 50%. To be honest, I'm not surprised. Complaints about the game were being spewed everywhere during the summer, all the way until the thing came out. I believe there are 4 sides of things when it comes to Veilguard. Those who loved the game, those who had their reservations but still liked it, those who didn't really care for it, and those who hate it. As someone who's still pretty new to Dragon Age, the biggest complaint I had was that the gameplay was going to be a bit different than Inquisition. I didn't like the fact that I wouldn't be able to control my companions. I think that's one of the things that separates Dragon Age from its sister series, Mass Effect. However, that's also why I don't mind the game. If I'm going to be playing a Mass Effect-esque game, then I'll be able to settle in quickly. But series identity is a big deal for gamers. You can't change too much or people will complain. There's other things that were talked about like the visuals, but companion control was my main gripe. But with Veilguard underperforming, what would that mean for Mass Effect? The idea was that if this game sold well, it would open up more breathing room for Mass Effect 4 or 5. Well, that didn't happen, so what now? Well, things aren't what I would say ideal right now for Bioware. It's come out that EA has restructured and laid off more than 100 employees. There were about 200 during Veilguard's development, but now there are less than 100 people working for Bioware. Seasoned employees like Trick Weeks, Karen Weeks West, and Ryan Cormier are now gone from the company. According to this article by PC Gamer, the plan to loan Bioware developers to other EA studios while the next Mass Effect was in pre-production was put in place shortly after the Veilguard launched, but before its sales failure came to light. Regardless of the Veilguard's ultimate performance, former Bioware producer Mark Darrah's prediction that the studio had become a one game at a time outfit was on the money, and many devs would have nothing to work on before Mass Effect entered full production. There is nothing really going on to warrant the amount of people on Bioware's payroll, so the cuts and moving of developers came. But it doesn't seem like that number is going to increase very much even after it enters the production stage. Some of these relocations have become permanent, which didn't sit well with the Bioware employees who were moved. So yeah, it seems like Bioware is now going to be working on one new game at a time. But the way EA is going about things seems to not only be a Bioware thing, but a trend across the gaming industry. If a studio's game doesn't sell well, if there isn't a good return on the parent company's investment, things may not look good for that studio. Restructuring, layoffs, studio shutdowns, anything to save money, right? And while things are not looking too good over at Bioware, I'm still optimistic for the next game. I believe that the next game can be good, that it can sell well. I think Bioware is a big enough name to take a chance on. This also may be Bioware's last chance, so I'm hoping that they strike gold. A lot of the old guard is gone, but there are still some recognizable names mixed in. We have guys like Paris Soleil, who worked as a cinematic director for the original trilogy, an original art director in Derek Watts, and Brendan Holmes, who is a longtime Bioware programmer and tech designer. And hey, there's still Mike Gamble and Preston W. I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. Plus, some of the people that they've brought in have experience in the sci-fi genre. One of the interesting hires is Mary DeMarle, as she's worked on games like the Deus Ex series and Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. That game received an award for the best narrative at the Game Awards in 2021, so this is someone who knows how to write a story. I'm excited to see what she comes up with. It's still sad that we don't have Mac Walters anymore, but he's gone on to bigger and better things with his own company. What also makes me hopeful is the fact that Bioware is a legacy franchise at this point. There's a lot that can be used as a baseline for the next game. Maybe this game can lead to a return of the Maraudie system. There are a lot of Renegade players out there. I think they missed that in Andromeda. There's a chance to improve upon gameplay mechanics. Again, Andromeda has something going with their combat system. I would like to see what they could do with that. I also believe Shepard is coming back more than ever, cause Shepard sells. But that's the main thing here. This game needs to be a success. There's less room for error here. It has to be successful by EA standards. These layouts have got folks kind of nervous, and saying things like this isn't going to garner favor with your consumers. Look, Veilguard didn't sell like y'all thought it would. Veilguard as a live service wouldn't have changed a thing. Plus, the fans don't want that. All we want is a good story, and here is your opportunity to deliver. So while the team is smaller, the fact they're going to be focused on the next Mass Effect game solely is comforting. When it's time to start producing the game, it'll be time to lock in. This game ain't coming out till about 2028-29. I'm hoping for 29. More time for the game to cook. I just hope EA doesn't meddle too much and we end up with something subpar. Just let them do what they do, EA. But that's all I really wanted to talk about, just to give my overall thoughts on what's going on at Bioware and how I'm personally feeling about the next game. But let me know what y'all think about all of this. Feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic 3.